A new granular device has just been added to Faceplant, so it's a good time to actually look at what granular synthesis really is. In today's video I'm going to explain to you granular synthesis in a very easy to understand manner, and then I'm going to show you how to make some cool sounds from it. If at any point in time you enjoyed this video and you want to let me know, you can do so by leaving a like. Also, if you have questions or suggestions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. But with that being said, let's get right into this. So right here I have Faceplant, and this is opening up with the new granular engine. As you can see, there's no sample loaded, so it won't make any sound when we actually play this. But what I first want to do is I want to look at the easiest case, because as you can see, there's a lot of strange knobs in here and things that don't really make sense. So we first need to actually look at what granular synthesis actually does. So in its most basic form, if we take a sampler and we just drop an audio file in here, say that we go in one of these and we get, for example, some top loops. I now have this sample loaded, and when I play it, it will just start to play it continuously, and it will just play the sample at whatever pitch that I decide to play. What we could decide to do on playback though is to loop the sample. So what I'm going to do is I am going to enable the loop. You can see that now our loop area is going to start to appear. And if I turn off the snap, we can just set the loop length however long we want it. And if we set a short enough loop, you'll actually hear that it's looping. Now let's imagine what happens if we make the loop even shorter. I'm going to go back to the original octave and I'm going to start playing it while shortening this loop. You can hear that at 0% we get this very distinct tone from it. And that's because we're just zooming in so far. We can continue to zoom in by holding shift and just down arrowing on this individual knob here, the length position. And you'll be able to hear that you get individual chunks of audio. Now this is just one grain or one playthrough of the sample. The sample is playing once and it starts to loop, and it's just going to be one instance of that sample playing and looping. With granular synthesis we also work from an audio file and then loop it very quickly, but we usually have more than one grain. I can load a sample here. Let's just go for something similar, like some Foley sound. I have some crackles over here, and if I start to play it, you can see that at any point in time we have more than just one sample playing. I can make the length a lot longer and then you'll be able to see that effect. We in fact have 4 grains playing. I can make that more if I want to, but I can also just go back to the original situation where we just have this one looping thing. You can see that this loop has a little bit of attack and release to it, but if we remove that, we get essentially the same setup that we had before with the sampler. So as I said, granular synthesis usually has more grains than this, but it also offers other things that you can customize about each of these different playbacks of the sample. For example, the starting position, their pitch, if you want to up or down the pitch. You can change their level, you can change their panning, and sometimes you can have it reverse. You can now see that for each of the different grains that we're creating, all of the different playthroughs, it will start at a different position, it will have different timing, different pitch, but let's just start by having a different position. You can see sometimes their starting position is more towards this side and sometimes it's more towards this side. Now obviously this is very powerful because you need to work with a starting sample. So the starting sample is going to have massive impacts on the type of sound that you're actually going to be creating. So let's switch to a different sound. Let's go with some kind of vocal. This is our starting vocal. Let's see if we can make something cool from this. I first want to start by making this shorter so that we have a little bit of an area around the actual sample. You don't want this to be too long for the sample. Now we obviously want to change the starting position a little bit and the pitch as well. So you get already this kind of graspy, one kind of long scream instead of it just being one sample playing, starting and then stopping. You can make the release longer. If I want to introduce a little bit of stereo effect with having this many grains, we can also use the panning. So if I'm going to go up 100% random on the panning, you'll hear that we'll get a stereo effect from that. What might be cool is to use the chords in here. Maybe this is not the right chord or not the right sample. Let's see if we can find a little bit of a nicer sample, maybe. That's nice. Without the chord, you have something like this. And then if you enable the chord, you get this. So as you can hear, you can get some really cool ambient kind of sounds from that. That's really where this sound design technique really works, is creating atmosphere, ambiences, those kind of thing, big pads, a lot of complex, different sounds over time. Because you have so many grains playing at the same time, which each can have a different starting position, different pitch, different level, different panning, they all contribute to this very complex sound, because obviously with them having different starting points within the different samples, it's going to be like having different modulations for each note that you're playing. It's not just one note like we saw before with the sampler, it's many notes all playing together, creating this big washing out kind of sound. So in order to turn this really into a pad or an atmosphere, I would probably give it a little bit of extra attack, maybe sustain down a little bit with a longer decay so we get a nice shape for that. And then I would go in here and probably add some reverb as well as some delay. Let's time this synchronized ping pong. I'll give it something like this. And obviously you can play whatever chord that you want depending on what you need in the situation. So that's everything that I wanted to show. I hope that this was an easy to understand explanation. Let me know if it was by leaving a like and a comment down below. If you're new here and you want to see more of what I do on this channel, then make sure that you're subscribed. But this is going to be it for the video for today. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.